Welcome to Election Night 2020. Today we have the incumbent president Donald Trump with his vice president Mike Pence versus Bernie Sanders, the independent senator from Vermont, with his running mate, Governor of New York Andrew Cuomo. Here's the 7 o'clock p.m. poll closing. Indiana's 11 electoral votes now projected for Donald Trump, the vice president's home state. Kentucky's 8 electoral votes now projected for Donald Trump. South Carolina's 9 electoral votes now projected for Donald Trump. Vermont's 3 electoral votes now projected for Bernie Sanders. Virginia's too close to call, 13 electoral votes at stake here, 7 o'clock. The polls closed here at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. 27% of the precincts reporting, 44% of it has gone to Bernie Sanders, to 43% for Donald Trump. Georgia, 16 electoral votes at stake. Bernie Sanders has an early lead here, 21% of the precincts reporting. He has a 2-point lead. Here's the current electoral map, 28 for Donald Trump to 3 for Bernie Sanders. Here's the 7:30 p.m. poll closing. West Virginia is now projected for Donald Trump. Ohio, 18 electoral votes is too close to call. Bernie Sanders, 3-point lead. This is a state Donald Trump needs to win. No Republican has ever won the White House without the state of Ohio. North Carolina's 15 electoral votes now projected for now is too close to call. Bernie Sanders, though, has a 1-point lead on Donald Trump. Here is the electoral map, 33 for Donald Trump to 3 for Sanders. Here's the 8 o'clock p.m. poll closing. Alabama's 9 electoral votes now projected for Donald Trump. Mississippi's 6 electoral votes projected for Trump. Tennessee's 11 electoral votes now projected for Donald Trump. Oklahoma's 7 electoral votes projected for Donald Trump. Illinois, 20 electoral votes now projected for Bernie Sanders. Pennsylvania's 20 electoral votes now projected for Bernie Sanders. This is a much earlier call of the state of Pennsylvania. This is a state that Trump won in 2016, but now Bernie Sanders has pulled off the win in this state. Maine's 4 electoral votes now projected for Bernie Sanders. Massachusetts, 11 electoral votes now projected for Bernie Sanders. Rhode Island, 4 electoral votes now projected for Bernie Sanders. Connecticut, 7 electoral votes now projected for Bernie Sanders. New Jersey, 14 electoral votes now projected for Bernie Sanders. Delaware, 3 electoral votes now projected for Bernie Sanders. Maryland, 10 electoral votes now projected for Bernie Sanders. And the District of Columbia will land in Bernie Sanders' column tonight. No Republican has ever won the District of Columbia, and that tradition will go on now that Bernie Sanders has won. Missouri is too close to call. 10 electoral votes at stake here. Bernie Sanders has an 8-point lead. New Hampshire's 4 electoral votes. Trump has a 2-point lead here. Here's the state of Florida, 29 electoral votes at stake. Bernie Sanders has a 12-point lead. And here's the current electoral map, 99 electoral votes for Bernie Sanders, 66 for Donald Trump. Here's the 8:30 p.m. poll closing. Arkansas, the one state of Arkansas projected for Donald Trump, but Missouri is now ready to be projected for Donald Trump, and New Hampshire is projected now for Bernie Sanders. Here's the current electoral map. We apologize that none of the states projected now has changed. It's supposed to be 82 for Donald Trump to 103 for Bernie Sanders. Here's a 9 o'clock p.m. poll closing. Texas, 38 electoral votes projected for Donald Trump. Louisiana's 8 electoral votes projected for Donald Trump. Kansas, 6 electoral votes for Donald Trump. Nebraska's 5 electoral votes. All 5 of their electoral votes will go to Donald Trump. North Dakota's 3 electoral votes will now go for Donald Trump. South Dakota's 3 electoral votes will also be projected for Donald Trump, along with Wyoming's 3 electoral votes. New Mexico, 5 electoral votes now projected for Bernie Sanders. Here's the state of Colorado, 9 electoral votes for Bernie Sanders. New York's 29 electoral votes projected for Bernie Sanders, and Minnesota's 10 electoral votes now projected for Bernie Sanders. Florida, a huge win for Bernie Sanders, 29 electoral votes for Bernie Sanders. This is a state Trump needed to win, but Trump has failed to carry the state because Florida has been projected for Bernie Sanders. And Virginia, 13 electoral votes, now projected for Bernie Sanders. Here's the current electoral map, 198 for Bernie Sanders to 148 for Donald Trump. Bernie Sanders has exactly 50 electoral votes more than Donald Trump. And here is the 10 o'clock p.m. poll closing. State of Utah 6 electoral votes, projected for Donald Trump. Montana's 3 electoral votes, also projected for Donald Trump. Arizona's 11 electoral votes, now projected for Donald Trump. This is a state we are now ready to project. This was previously too close to call, and we apologize for not showing the too close to call for Arizona. Georgia, 16 electoral votes, now projected for Donald Trump. We apologize about that. Nevada, 6 electoral votes, now projected for Bernie Sanders. North Carolina, a huge win for Bernie Sanders. Huge victory here. Bernie Sanders has now carried the state of North Carolina. He has also carried the state of Michigan, another Trump state from 2016. And Wisconsin, 10 electoral votes for Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders has now flipped back the Rust Belt that Trump was able to flip. 245 for Bernie Sanders to 184 for Donald Trump. Here's the 11 o'clock p.m. poll closing. And CNN is now ready to project that Bernie Sanders will be elected 46th President of the United States. Bernie Sanders elected the 46th President of the United States. California's 55 electoral votes now projected for Bernie Sanders. The state alone puts Bernie Sanders over the top. Washington State, 12 electoral votes for Bernie Sanders. Hawaii's 4 electoral votes projected for Bernie Sanders. And Oregon, 7 electoral votes for Bernie Sanders. Here's some extra state calls. Iowa, 6 electoral votes for Bernie Sanders. And Ohio, big win for Bernie Sanders. Although it doesn't matter, this is a huge win for Bernie Sanders of the state of Ohio, 18 electoral votes. And Idaho has been projected for Donald Trump, although it doesn't really matter anymore because he's already lost. 347 electoral votes for Bernie Sanders to 188 for Donald Trump. Here's a 1 a.m. poll closing. Alaska's 3 electoral votes. No surprise here, although it doesn't matter. 3 electoral votes for Donald Trump. Here's a final electoral map. 347 for Bernie Sanders to 191 for Donald Trump. Thank you all so much for watching. I don't know why my ending screen just went like that, so we will stay on this screen for now. I don't know what happened to my ending screen. It must not processed all the way, or whatever. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you liked this updated video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next video. Goodbye.